Okay, 8PT, we're going to start today by visualising some two-dimensional shapes.
Kath began this part of the lesson by using an effective method to gain the attention of the class. She followed this with the lesson objective. As soon as Kath asked for the attention of the class, she turned her back on them to rub something off the board, which she had previously asked them to copy. This resulted in Mike's interruption and the amended instruction that people should copy the information from each other.
Sorry, miss, just a second.
Oh, come on, I've given you plenty of time. Copy it from whoever's next to you. Right.
As Kath turned from the board to address the class, very few pupils were paying attention. They were talking and still trying to copy from each other, but Kath continued as if everyone was listening. Kath referred back to the previous lesson, praising the class for having made a good start. She displayed the keywords, which unfortunately were upside down on the screen. Pupils were amused by this, but it didn't cause a problem, as Kath handled it well, using humour. Having introduced the keywords, Kath then began a brief revision of the previous lesson. This got off to a bad start when she thought Tom was going to answer a maths question, but instead asked about homework. Kath was disappointed that he was not answering the question and forgot in her response to remind Tom and the class of the homework routine that she had established. Next, Kirsty interrupted Kath to remind her that she had been absent from the last lesson.
Well, let's see if we can help her catch up, yes?
Kath's efforts to include Kirsty by revising the last lesson in more detail than she had planned delayed teaching of the main content of this lesson. Kath turned to the board and started a convoluted explanation without checking that the class were following what she said. Pupils continued to chat among themselves, but Kath didn't seem to notice. When Kath asked a question, Kirsty responded with an unexpected answer. Kath accepted Kirsty's answer without making her feel criticised or put down.
Is it a cube?
Yes, all the angles.
It was at this point in the lesson that Kath seemed to realise that she had the attention of only a few pupils and decided to redirect the class into the main task.
Do you think this angle is on your whiteboards?
I haven't got a whiteboard, miss.
However, pupils pointed out that they didn't have the whiteboards they needed, and the lesson was interrupted once again as she arranged for them to be given out.
Sorry, miss, but the rest of us haven't got whiteboards either.
Oh, my goodness. Someone, you, DJ and Luke, pass them round, please. Quick as you can.
When Sally arrived late, the visualisation had not yet begun.
Okay, 8PT, we're going to start today by visualising some two-dimensional shapes.
Sorry, miss, just a second.
Oh, come on, I've given you plenty of time. Copy it from whoever's next to you. Right. Now,
even though this part of the lesson seemed to be so unpromising, I feel quite hopeful that, with support, Kath can develop the skills she needs.
Let's hope that some of what we learned has stuck.
She has an obvious warmth and concern for the pupils, and they seem to like her. My biggest worry is that she doesn't seem to be communicating well with pupils, making it difficult for her to fulfil her role in leading the learning. Pupils need teachers they can respect, who are confident, well-planned and thorough.
I'll be introducing some of these words in a moment, but first, perhaps we should remind ourselves of exactly what we were doing last week. Well done, Tom.
We're supposed to hand in our homework.
And I think I explained. I'll deal with homework.
Teachers need to demonstrate that they have high expectations of pupils, particularly in a school like this, where we want to encourage more pupils to aim high. I would like Kath to become more aware of the nuances of teacher presence. Things like posture, position, tone of voice, gesture, facial expression, and to understand how they all impact on learning. I'll arrange for Kath to observe one or two experienced teachers to focus on this so-called with-itness, perhaps followed by some coaching to help her develop these skills in her own teaching. Some staff have recently had some training on coaching based on the Key Stage 3 strategy materials on sustaining improvement.
Is it a cube?
Okay, 8PT, we're going to start today by visualising some two-dimensional shapes.
Sorry, miss, just a second.
There is very little learning about maths or behavioural skills taking place in this part of the lesson. Kath needs to learn how to be more assertive so that she can lead pupils' learning. The confused way in which she introduced the lesson set the tone. She is giving herself an uphill battle with this class by her nervous and muddled delivery. For example, she did not feel confident enough to insist on the full attention of the class, so she ignored the fact that there was chatter, that pupils were out of their seats, and that other low-level disruption was going on while she was trying to teach. She lacks experience and appears to have communicated her insecurity to the pupils. I think pupils sensed that she just wanted to get to the end of the lesson without further incident and responded to her low expectations of them. Kath has good knowledge of her subject and does plan her lessons well, but she doesn't follow her planning through, and this leads her to make reactive responses, which throw her lessons off course. For example, responding fully to each question from pupils, relevant or not, disrupted the flow of her explanation and made it very difficult for pupils to follow.
Perhaps we should remind ourselves of exactly what we were doing last week. Well done, Tom.
We're supposed to hand in our homework.
And I think I explained I'll deal with homework later on. Now, anyone? Yes, Kirsty?
Miss went ill last week. I had flu.
Oh, no, of course you won't. Well, let's see if we can help her catch up, yes?
In the long term, it is the quality of Kath's planning for behaviour and learning, and the way she carries her planning through, that will be the key to her being a more confident and assertive teacher.
We said, didn't we? That the angles of
The head has arranged for Kath to observe how more experienced teachers deliver this episode of the lesson. I will help her to focus on some of the specific skills she needs to learn by showing her a framework that she can use for her observation.
What do you think, Kirsty?
It will help her to look at 3 areas in particular: teacher presence, responding to interruptions, and gaining the attention of the class.